what's up, geeks? Darron here. And in this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of joining a coding bootcamp. Bootcamps have become very popular over the recent years. And if you've been following this channel for a while, you already know that I didn't actually become a software engineer through bootcamps. I didn't even become an engineer through school. It was a hobby of mine. I did coding on my own. I built applications in my free time. And this is honestly something that I do to actually relieve stress from my life. I like to code, which is kind of awkward knowing how stressful software development can be. But anyways, I'm going to give you my spiel on the pros and cons of being in the bootcamp. So let's get into it. I'm going to cover pros first. So the first pro is you get a community. I was a self-taught software engineer. So I actually purchased a few books, I purchased some courses, and that was my route. And I actually did a lot of things on my own. So when I did encounter any kind of issues, it was up to me. And it's not that easy to find, like even being at a college environment, it's not easy to find developers who are actually students who are engineers who are actually interested in software development in their free time. A lot of engineers, they only do what they have to do within the classroom, and then they're drinking on the weekend. That's just how it is. So, like I said, when I encountered any kind of issue, it was a headache, man. I know my first few years actually doing the software engineering, and like I said, I wasn't mobile. I did touch base on web a little bit, but for the most part, I did mobile. And mobile was so new at the time that even the help on the internet wasn't that good. So I just remember having these really long headaches, and then sometimes those issues could actually last like weeks, man. So I had really, the biggest thing for me was not only figuring out how to address certain bugs, was really understanding how you architect a software, a mobile application. I had no idea about what APIs and what the backend, what the database and things like that was. So for me, it got to the point where I could confidently build the front end of an application. But when I wanted that application to be functional, to actually take data from that user and get it to show on the screen, or get have the user update data using the application, I had no idea how I was supposed to go around that. Now, with the bootcamp, it covers all of that. With the bootcamp, you're surrounded by other students who are in your position or who know more than you. You also have tutors, you have instructors, and you may even have more than that. But the point is that you have somebody that you can ask questions to actually speed up that learning process. Now, another major pro actually joining the bootcamp is that the time. You save time. You can spend, like I said, when I had some issues, it can go on weeks, sometimes go months, sometimes you can get discouraged. It depends on the person you are. Me personally, when I was in college, I took as many courses as I could online because that's just the way that I learned best. I didn't like being around a lot of people. I didn't like sitting in the classroom. But I remember having conversations with some of my friends. They was like, man, I don't know if I can take online classes. I have to be in a class environment. I wouldn't be able to learn that way. And bootcamp gives you kind of like that classroom feel, because you're surrounded around students. You have that community. You have those friends. You have people that you can hit up in your free time. You don't have to feel stupid either, because if there's other people who are in the same position as you as far as like experience-wise, it's just a more comfortable environment. And like I said, the time associated with actually resolving an issue is very small. So that means that something that would have took you like a year, for me, full stack development took me a year. If you were in one of these boot camps, you can understand full stack development within like 3 months, and you can potentially be hired in 3 months, depending on how much work you put into it. So yeah, just by going into this boot camp, it's almost promised that you're going to save some time when it comes to software development. Now for the cons. Now, if anybody here who's listening to this actually went the bootcamp route, feel free to leave a comment. When it comes to cons, from the outsider looking in, just knowing the amount of money that I put into software development, And now that I've been a professional mobile developer for a few years now, I know how I could actually speed up that process. And just me having my background and then also having my experience background and knowing my struggles at the beginning, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around why a boot camp is so expensive. Boot camps can range from $7,000 to about 25 grand. And in America, the average for boot camp is 15 grand. Now that's a lot. That's a lot of money for a boot camp. Now, maybe because of the time, because you learn things so much more faster, and you have so many different references, that can make up for that cost. But all you really have to do is to purchase a book or to purchase a course online, and you can really become a software engineer. It's not the boot camp that's going to help you get hired. It's not even the books that's going to help you get hired. It's your ability to create projects and create projects that are meaningful, that you would use or that are functional. Like I remember when I first started working as a mobile developer, one of the recruiters, they were saying like, your application is the best application that we've actually seen out of all of our developers. And they tell me like most of the developers, they have like a note application or something like that, where they just go over the basic CRUD, they create a note, they read the note, they update the note, or they delete the note. And I actually have built a social media application. So because I had some level of creativity and I also used CRUD within my application, that helped me get hired. It wasn't the fact that I went a school route, went boot camp route, or I was self-taught, just reading books and taking courses. So for me personally, I think that much money for a boot camp is kind of wild. And it's, honest, and I'm being completely real. Like GeekMODE in the future, I'm going to have a boot camp for what I have. Like I said, some people just learn better that way rather than just like taking a course or reading a book. But hey, it is what it is. I think it's expensive. So hey. Now, my last and final point, which is a con, is information overload. Most, if not, I think all of these boot camps, they focus on web development. Now, with web development, there's a lot of different tools that you can do. First off, on the API side, you can go many different routes. And then database side, you can have a NoSQL database, you can have a MySQL database, or you can have a Microsoft SQL Server database. There may even be more than that. And on the API side, I know they have GraphQL, they have REST, which is Express, which is through Node.js. They have SQLize. They have a few different other things. But there's a lot of different tools that you can use. And on the website, it's way more tools that you can use when it compared to the mobile side. And I think for somebody who's just completely fresh when it comes to software development, you can have an information overload. You might learn a lot of things in there, but once you step out of that environment, you're going to be kind of like unsure where you should go. Like I've seen, I actually tried to help this other developer get a job and was unsuccessful, because he marketed himself as a full stack engineer. And I get the thought process behind it. It's like, okay, if I say I'm full stack, that means that I can do a lot of different things. It means I could do the back end, I could do the front end, I could do the database. I'm full stack. I can do it all. So it's going to be easier for me to get a job. Actually, it's not. You're hurting yourself. There's a book called The One-Page Marketing Plan, which I use to actually help me with this business. And originally, when I was going to do GeekMODE, I was going to cover all different software development. I was going to cover web and mobile, cover APIs, cover all these different things. But what that did was, because I wasn't specializing, I put myself in a position where I was competing against Udemy. I was competing against Lynda or any kind of other major big corporation. And the example used in this book was like, let's say you're a beginner, you're a photographer. It's your first year, a first-time photographer, and you market yourself as, hey, I'm a photographer. It's like, okay, cool. Now you're competing against all these other photographers. But let's say that you're a wedding photographer. Now you can take photos of a bunch of different things. It could be animals, it can be wildlife, it could be models, etc. But if you say you're a wedding photographer, now you're niche focused. And because you're niche focused, people see you as a specialist in that field. Now apply that to to software development. this guy had 1 year, if not less than that, and he marked himself as a full stack. And I was like, dude, this is all you want to do is get your foot in the door. You want to pick the tool that you're most comfortable with, and then market yourself as that engineer. That should be your title on your LinkedIn, even for your position. Like, I guess when you have your job history, just put the title of the position that you want to have a career in. Just put it, or the position that you're trying to get hired in. Just put that as your job title there. So then when people are searching on LinkedIn for engineers and they put these keywords in the search, you will pop up. When you put full stack, you're going to compete against people who are like way more experienced than you, man. People who have way more skills. It's not going to make you a competitive or viable candidate. So with these boot camps, they don't teach you how to specialize. They really just introduce you to a lot of different things. And you could leave it, like I said, you can leave that boot camp kind of just being like, okay, where do I go? How do I start? What's going to be my direction from here? But anyways, that's it for this video. Check out the course, React Native Without the Bullshit. I'm very confident that after this course, you'll be more than ready to actually build your own professional application, or you could actually just tweak the application a little bit and get hired as a mobile developer. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.